I'm Korean, queer, neurodivergent. I grew up thinking professional applied to a very narrow set of people. Now I think we're allowed to define who we are out loud and proudly.
It's SEC Baseball, a Sunday matinee. The resumption of last night's rain delay turned into a suspended contest entering the bottom of the 6th inning. Arkansas leading the Vanderbilt Commodores 8-6. Vanderbilt won back on Friday. Arkansas hoping to even up this series before they play a 7-inning game later on this afternoon. Brett Dolan with Troy Eklund. Troy, last night Caden Wallace was a big part of Arkansas's offense.
Well, he really was. The guy, Caden, really found some power in the first batter for Arkansas of the game. He leads off with a solo home run shot, a laser into the bullpen right there, but he wasn't done for the night with 2 Razorbacks on. He shoots one to right center field. He knew it was gone off the bat, Brett.
Arkansas scored 4 runs on 1 hit that inning. At one point they were down 5-1, ended up building an 8-5 lead, but Vanderbilt got a home run from Tate Colwick in the 6th for this current 8-6 game. So now, Troy, as you look at the game summary, the question becomes how these teams go about pitching to finish off this 9-inning game.
Yeah, Vanderbilt's going to come back with Patrick Riley, who was the last person to pitch for Vanderbilt, and he's got some really good stuff. Sophomore right there, you see the numbers on him. He's got a good fastball, mixing the slider and change as well.
Those 2 runs he gave up were on a double by Chase Borfin after a pair of walks on what was sort of a tight strike zone last night, at least compared to other games we've seen where it's been so expansive. Zach Gregory doesn't want to hear that. He was rung up on a pitch in the 3rd inning. But Gregory, Wallace, and Turner, 9-1-2, will be due up here in the bottom of the 6th. Again, we'll play through 9 innings at least, 7-inning game to follow. And I do believe I heard more weather in the area later on today.
Yeah, maybe like around 5 or 6 o'clock. So
bite your tongue.
Get rolling here.
Here we go. Morning baseball. That didn't take long.
He just gets on base.
1 pitch, 1 bruise, 1 base runner.
Number 7.
Caden Wallace is going to step to the plate with a chance to do a little more damage in this 83-degree Sunday morning. See the 2 home runs for Caden, jumping his total on the year up to 8. Almost hit Wallace. But again, back on Friday, Arkansas fell behind big early, came back to tie in a couple of occasions, lost on a 3-run homer in the 10th to Bradfield. So Vanderbilt's RPI jumped up to 3. Arkansas's plummeted, even though the Hogs have been ranked 4th, 5th, and 6th most of this last month. Troy, I think there feels like there's a sense of urgency when it comes to winning this game to try and bump those numbers back up, then to have a chance to win a series in the nightcap.
Oh, absolutely. I think so. And they're going to throw the kitchen sink. That's Arkansas going to throw the kitchen sink at Vanderbilt today. And you're right. That RPI rating is definitely a concern for the entire Razorback staff.
Riley to Wallace. That's on the outside corner for a strike. Eddie Newsom back behind the plate. I don't think I've ever talked about RPI more than I have in the last 2 weeks, but that number for Arkansas, well, it fluctuates. It continues to be in that troublesome zone. And while Vanderbilt was projected as a 2 seed, a win in this game or later on today would really put them in a good spot to host.
Yeah, I think so. Caden Wallace is seeing a steady diet of sliders right there. There's your RPI rankings for SEC schools.
Again, Arkansas' strength of schedule, something we'll get into later on, but for a team that's 4th or 5th or 6th, to be in that 28 spot just doesn't quite seem right. That loss in game 1 did not help. That's in to Wallace. And I think we expected a battle when these teams got together. I mean, late in the year, 2 top-tier programs who not only compete to win this conference, not this year at least, but are always competing, it seems like, to try and get deep in the postseason towards Omaha.
Well, both teams have tremendous depth and talent. And we're seeing that on this weekend.
Gregory leaning a bit before that 3-2 pitch. Draws a throw.
Yeah, I definitely think you're right. I think Gregory is going to be off to the races right there. Bulger throws really well, so I think they're hoping that Caden Wallace can make some contact or draw a walk. So the fastball on the inside corner in the last pitch, probably going to see that slider down and away again.
Gregory is running. That one goes to the backstop, but almost hit Wallace in the head. I would say if you're the Commodores and you go to bed late last night envisioning how this game would start, this is not how they drew it up or thought about it.
Boy, that one really got away from Patrick Riley. It just sailed on him, and really, Gregory's already going to get the free pass on second base. That's going to bring Tim Corbin out to the mound very early in this ballgame.
Think about Riley coming back after he finished the game, or was in the game when it was suspended. Do a lot of warm-ups to get ready for a couple of batters, and he hit one and nearly hit the second. Step aside pitching change for this early morning game.
Let's talk about what is professional today. We can flip the script by getting
Professional does not have shape, does not have limits. I've been a janitor, I've been a designer, I've been an executive.
Creating my own seat at the table was doing things different than how it's ever been done before.
It's just like an ebb and a flow. Dad life, work life.
It's all life. There's work and there's what works for you.
Professional is you, professional is us.
It's ours to define.
Here, have a Triscuit.
Bring on the zest with fire-roasted tomato and olive oil. Bring it with Triscuit.
These were scores around the conference yesterday. Tennessee did lose at home in that series finale to Georgia. A&M came back for another win. Troy Old Miss destroyed LSU. They also completed the game that was suspended on Friday that Ole Miss also won.
Yeah, they're on a roll. They've had a 6-game winning streak right now, the longest of any SEC school.
Meanwhile, here's a left-hander. Brett Hansen on the pitch with a couple of base runners aboard in the 6th.
Hansen's only pitched 8 2/3 innings on the season. He goes 6'4", 205. You see the numbers right there. Again, that fastball sitting in the low to mid-90s. He'll mix in a slider and a change as well.
California native, this program recruits nationally. Michael Turner, the batter, he is singled and lined to center and lined softly to short. He's coming off a rough game on Friday, but Turner has put up big numbers all year, as you see on the stat line. Honored yesterday before the game with several other seniors. That has become a rarity of sorts to have senior day in college baseball. Up the middle, right to Young, steps on second, throws to first, double play. It's a second double play Turner's hit into in 2 games, and what a huge effort.
A big pitch right there by Brett Hansen. Really gets in on the hands of Turner, and the positioning right there by Young made that play really easy.
Hit better walk, pitching change, double play. Here's Robert Moore.
Yeah, exactly what the Commodores wanted right there.
Robert did walk way back in the 3rd inning last night.
Defensively, Vanderbilt has the shift on for Moore. Second baseman Kolwick's playing right behind second.
Robert homered, batting right-handed on Friday night. It's number 6 on his season. Been batting 3-hole this weekend. We've seen him in the cleanup spot. DVH said something the other day about Robert's batting average at .238. He said, uh-oh, that one's going to go to the backstop. A flip to the plate, and a great dive by Gregory to beat the pitcher Hansen to the plate and score run number 9. The carom off the backstop nearly gave Bulger a chance to get Gregory. Troy, if he doesn't have a pretty good secondary break, I don't think he gets there.
Right, I think that's a huge break by Gregory and great read. And you're right, to carry him off the padding back behind the wall. And guess what, Brett? That's another walk that comes around and scores for Arkansas.
I was getting ready to say, DVH said, I really wish we didn't focus as much on batting average as we do RBIs, trying to drive in runs. Well, Robert doesn't have a chance to drive in a run here because Gregory has already scored.
Excuse me, that was a hit by pitch, not the walk. It's still a free base runner. Yep.
Yep, they all blur. It's a little bit in. Maybe low.
I'd be really careful with Robert Moore right here. Really shown a lot of power from the right-hand side.
Hansen got the double play, then threw the wild pitch. He's going to end up walking Robert Moore. Boy, the double play really looming large now, considering the wildness of this inning. You see Hansen with his number 77. So in 2 games, not even 2 games, we've seen Vanderbilt run out pitchers with uniform numbers 66, 77, 88, and 97.
Gotta wait to see somebody in triple digits. That's what I'm ready for.
Got a 99 and a 98 ready to pitch. Brady Slavin's next man in, lefty matchup. That's not close. I know once you get to regional play, you might have some crazy start times, right? You're going to have a game suspended. You have to play 3 games or 2.5 in a day in order to keep things on schedule. Just doesn't quite feel like a few of these pitchers have been ready to go, and I don't blame them starting at 11 a.m. Were it not for that double play, we'd be talking about a potential huge inning.
Oh, absolutely. And with Brady Slavens at the plate, it still may be a big inning, a possible crooked number. But you're right with the start time. You think about a lot of these guys may not have started this early, maybe going back to travel baseball.
Big rip and a miss. Major League Baseball starting 1 game early on a Sunday this year. I think it's for NBC or Peacock. And they were starting a game at 11:30 this morning in Atlanta. That can't be ideal, right? Playing in Hotlanta at 11:30, but we're beating them by a half hour.
Yeah. Getting cranked up early here in Fayetteville.
Then again, I'd invite you to the wacky world of SEC softball, where we've started a game at 10:30 on a Sunday on Easter, an 11 a.m. game. All because they can't figure out how to travel?
Yeah, that was a little interesting, wasn't it?
It's just absurd.
He's got one word for that, right? Charter.
I think we're getting to that point. 3-1 the count to Slavens. Fouled back. Moore was offering a bit of a delayed steal attempt.
Dominic Keegan's trying to figure out that they want him to play behind Moore or in front of him and hold him on, so they're going to choose to play him right behind Robert Moore, so he can't really get a huge break. That might be interesting if Brady rips one down the right field line with Keegan playing about 1 step behind the bag at first.
Moore will run. Here's a payoff, and we'll do it again. That's probably the one guy who doesn't mind this start. He's the first guy in the dugout every day. Every day.
I don't think his motor stops, does it? It just kind of keeps
it
rolling.
May not. Not quite the intensity in the crowd, as you can imagine. Fans trickling in at different intervals today. Not like last night when this place was jam-packed. Moore will run. Soft flare down the line in right. This one's, oh, it's foul. Just to the right of the chalk. Had that caught a little bit of white, I think Moore would have scored.
Yeah, it was hit so softly, you're right. I mean, Moore was off to the races, and he was almost to second base when that ball hit the ground. That is Morris Hodges, the first base umpire. Again, that's paint, that's not chalk, so a little more difficult. You're not going to see a puff of white, but this is how close that ball is. Wow.
Yep, foul by what? Less than a baseball length?
Yeah. And one thing Hodges did, he didn't take off and run toward that baseball, but he had a really good look at it.
Once again, Robert Moore goes. That's ball 4 again, another one to the backstop. I mean, right now this is looking like travel ball where every 4th pitch is retrieved, not caught.
Yeah, it's getting a little dicey for Vanderbilt in this inning, and the dangerous Kendall Diggs coming up to the plate.
I guess if you're the Commodores, Joe, you feel like if we can get out of this inning with just 1 run scored, despite 1 pitch after another going to the backstop, we have dodged a bullet.
I definitely think so, and that was a big run for Arkansas, but they'd love to
10 walks?
Put another one, yeah, exactly. Seven runs scored on free base runners for Arkansas.
Diggs is 0 for 3 with 3 groundouts to the right side. Most times Arkansas has walked in a game this year, 11. They're trending in that direction. Hansen would like to change that narrative and end this inning. Front door, breaking ball.
That's some big sweeping hooks right there by Hansen. Now you start this one down the middle and break it off the plate.
Two on, 2 out, 2-strike pitch. Diggs had to offer at it, spoiled it.
92 with that last fastball by Hansen. Defensively with 2 strikes, Vandy's playing Diggs straight away. Faz in left is kind of cheating in a little bit to kind of take away that flare down the left field line.
Here's the 0-2. Bolger didn't catch that one cleanly. Didn't get far enough away for Moore to advance. He was ready to go, though. He was beginning to hop and jump and was about to take off when Bolger located the baseball.
He was almost halfway to second base at that point. He was really thinking about it hard, and then he thought twice about it and said, hey, I'm already in scoring position.
With the outfielders playing deep all the way around against Kendall Diggs. Poked foul down the line and left.
Back-to-back fastballs right there. You wonder if he's going to try to bring the hammer. You almost be scared to bury one in the dirt the way the ball's been shooting to the backstop.
Gotta believe Diggs is thinking left field, left center. Again, fouling one away.
I think the fear for Hansen is if you think about trying to bust Diggs in. I mean, you know you've got him leaning out over the plate, but if you miss down the middle instead of miss in, it could be trouble.
Arkansas scored a run already this inning without the benefit of a hit. Diggs will wave and miss. Down on strikes. Arkansas gets a run. Could have been more. They strand a pair. We go to the 7th inning. It's a 3-run Razorback lead.
Here, have a Triscuit.
Bring on the zest with fire-roasted tomato and olive oil. Bring it with Triscuit.
Let's talk about what is professional today. We can flip the script by getting
Professional does not have shape, does not have limits. I've been a janitor, I've been a designer, I've been an executive.
Creating my own seat at the table was doing things different than how it's ever been done before.
It's just like an ebb and a flow. Dad life, work life.
It's all life. There's work, and there's what works for you.
Professional is you. Professional is us.
It's ours to define.
There's some curiosity. Who might pitch for Arkansas going to the 7th inning? Zebulon Vermillion just threw a handful of pitches to end the 6th. And it's Will McIntyre who gets the nod here this morning.
Well, I think the reason why McIntyre gets this look and this opportunity is his ability to fill up the strike zone. He's not going to be overpowering. His stuff is good. Fastball sit there around 90 to 92. Good breaking ball, but again, just the ability to pound the strike zone as of late is why he got the call.
It's a big part of the win Sunday at Auburn, replacing Jackson Wiggins, shortening the game. And we saw the highlights and recaps of kind of their post-game celebration. I think DVH called him Will the Thrill. I'd like that. And then Hawks Plus had a video of McIntyre comes out and his mom was there, and his mom races up, gives him a big hug, and he's getting ready to get on the bus, and then he goes into his backpack and hands her a Mother's Day card. So he stole the show.
Very nice.
Nice job.
Always thinking ahead.
Yep.
This is the dangerous part of the Vanderbilt order. It's 2, 3, and 4, Jones, Keegan, and Vaz. I feel like that they really want to try to keep that pressure on Arkansas and maybe chip away at least a run in this inning, get that run back, maybe add to it.
There's Spencer Jones. He did walk and score in what was a 5-run 3rd inning. And Troy, going back to that frame, Keegan had the sacrifice fly for the first run. It came with 2 outs. Vaz doubled. Diaz walked. McKenzie had the slow dribbler into right field when Moore was playing up the middle. Colwick had the 2-run double against Morris, who was pretty effective against everybody else not named Colwick. But that inning got away from Arkansas, and to Vandy's credit, they put the pedal down and got a huge lead early.
Yeah, that was a great job offensively, especially with 2 outs, and really kind of stay engaged and not just give up on the inning.
Jones was one of those guys who walked against Hagen Smith. Lifted a mile in the air to center. Ball not carrying quite as well as it did in the first couple of days, and Webb will track it down and make the catch. This ballpark's been jumping both Friday and last night. A little more humid after the rains last night.
Yeah, what's really crazy is I live on the east side of Fayetteville, and I didn't get a drop at my house, and it's only probably about 7-8 miles away from the ballpark. It's got quite a bit.
Doesn't make any sense, does it?
No, it doesn't. Just like that cloud was right over the stadium.
A lot of lightning too as Dominic Keegan steps in.
Just an incredible year for Keegan. See just ridiculous numbers there, hitting 387 with 11 bombs.
You know, I thought we might have been able to resume maybe a little bit after 11:30, but the decision was made to start today at 11. Then I went home and watched my kids' game to 1:30 in the morning in Oklahoma.
Sleep's overrated, right?
Well, no, you don't need any of that. But they found a way to power through in what was a tournament format, a little different here. But there will be the second game that will be 7 innings because that is the SEC rule on a Sunday. That's a swing. That's a strike.
That's the true slider right there by Will McIntyre. It doesn't have a lot of break, but a lot of late life. Just enough to miss the barrel.
And a wave and a miss. Keegan down on strikes.
Yeah, really great placement right there for Will McIntyre. That's the slider down and away. You can see just a little bit of downward movement. Looks like the fastball out of the hand, and it's a really tough pitch to hit.
Sure that's not the cutter?
Could be, because it was 87.
Yeah, I think he's one of those guys who has a little more of that true cut action. Here's Vaz. Hard hit, flagged by Slavens. He'll retire Vaz. So Will McIntyre does what I'm sure DVH wanted him to do. Come on, be effective and efficient. Send this game. Hey, it's time to stretch him out. I feel like we need to stretch.
Here, have a Triscuit.
Bring on the zest with fire-roasted tomato and olive oil. Bring it with Triscuit.
When safe drivers save for not answering their phone while driving, they feel like a big deal.
Did you get the ice?
Even if they forgot the ice. Save up to 30% on auto insurance with USAA Safe Pilot. Get a quote today.
Talked a couple of times this series, Troy, about how these two teams, some of the best pitching teams in the country, not just the conference in the SEC, and I think it comes with depth. We're seeing some of those Razorback pitchers there in the dugout, but it feels like we're going to get to see a lot of the guys involving the depth, but these pitching numbers might not look as good after this weekend.
Yeah, I think so. And Vanderbilt's going to go to another arm, a big right-hander, Danye Evans, 6'6", 220. He has only thrown 10 1/3 innings. You see right there. The fastball will be in that mid-90s. Just a fastball slider guy, almost like your true reliever, Brett.
Big guy, 6'6". Going to face Braden Webb to lead off this inning. Webb's walked twice, scored twice. 2 of the 10 walks, 2 of the 7 free base runners who have scored. You know I love my big league comps when it comes to just frame, and the first thing I thought of with Evans was LaTroy Hawkins.
Yeah.
Hawkins was 6'5", and Evans 6'6". Hawkins pitched 20 years in the big leagues. Ironically, this weekend he's going into the Indiana Sports Hall of Fame with Keith Smart, Arkansas's basketball assistant. He seemed to have hit a pretty big shot for Indiana.
Yeah, just
history.
a little bit.
I texted LaTroy when I read that. He was landing in Evansville, and he said, "Hey, is Keith going to be there? I'd like to meet him." I'm a big Keith Smart fan.
Very cool.
But Evans looks a little bit like Hawkins. Pitch is inside, and the count 1-2. Arkansas scored 9 runs. I don't know if they feel comfortable right now. Well, can I interest you in another free base runner?
Wow, if Vanderbilt loses this game, they're going to look back at all the free base runners they've allowed and just kind of shake their head and go, wow.
12?
It's been crazy.
10 walks, 2 hit batters?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a tough day.
I mean, we're not even through 6 1/3 innings yet.
Well, how about Arkansas having 9 runs with 4 base hits?
Yeah, that's bizarre. And you might say, well, Arkansas has hit a lot of home runs. Well, they've hit 2.
2. 1 solo.
Borfin had a 2-run double, and quite frankly, Troy, that was a ball that he hit out towards right that could have been caught.
Yeah, it looked like off the bat that it ricocheted off Spencer Jones's glove in the middle of his dive. It was a tough play, but I think if you ask him, he said he should have come up with that baseball.
Arkansas is not a bunting team, Troy. Strategically, though, just like when it comes to stealing bases, they will look for opportunities when it comes to adding on a run or getting a run. You don't normally do it when you're down 2 or 3. You're playing for a big inning. When you're ahead, sometimes you're thinking about getting one more. And while I'm not advocating that here with Borfin, you wonder if that small ball thought process is affected by the fact that Vanderbilt's provided so many free base runners.
Yeah, that's true. And if you're thinking about maybe do you just start Webb, he's 7 of 8 in stolen bases, but you really like him at first base to leave that big hole.
He's going to run, got a curveball to run on, and that was what resulted in a stolen base. It was pretty close at second, but by picking the breaking ball to run on, Webb was able to get the base without an issue.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Good break right there, but nice throw by Bulger. Just slightly over to the shortstop side, and that was the difference. But you're right, the breaking ball count in that pitch allowed Webb to get to second base.
Arkansas will try to advance that runner into scoring position, so a single from Borfin would provide a 10th run. Yet the count 2-2.
Boy, some borderline pitches right there by Evans, just missing. Borfin's job is to try to hit that baseball to the right side and move Webb to third base.
Lifted. in the air, right center field, well struck to the fence, and it is caught by Jones. The big right fielder got back to the fence, had that one measured perfectly, and made the grab. And Webb would tag and move up to third base. You didn't feel like off the bat Jace had quite enough, and yet he still just about got it up and out.
Well, you wonder if that was hit yesterday, if that ball doesn't get out. There's just a little bit of breeze blowing in from right field, and that might have been just enough to knock that baseball down.
Here's Jalen Battle.
Now Vanderbilt's going to bring that infield in right here, knowing that they've got to cut down that run. They don't want to get down 4 runs. Jalen's got to see the ball up in the zone to drive it to the outfield.
Did he swing? I don't think so. Ooh. Morris Hodges says yes. His opinion counts more.
He was not hesitant on that call either.
Let's take a look.
I just felt like he did. A little over aggressive right here.
I mean, it was a violent check swing. It's probably a swing.
Yep. I think again, you can't chase that slider down and away in this situation. It's easy to say up here in the booth, but when you're in the box, you really got to tighten up that strike zone. Just try to get something you can drive.
Stabbed at the bunt on the safety squeeze attempt. They're taking a play out of Tim Corbin's playbook, and Webb had to scramble back to third base. It was an interesting.
I'm not sure if that was a strike either. I think if he just would have pulled that bat back, it would have been ball 2.
Two and two.
Nice shot by Bulger. Again, he's got to be the human backstop back here. You can't afford to have another one scoot by him.
Hammer, but way foul. Tried to spin that breaking ball in the inside corner. Infield in all the way around. Trying to keep Arkansas from getting its 10th run. Count has worked its way full. And a payoff. Drilled to left. This one's got a chance to go. Hello, Hookpin. Jalen Battles with the 2-run shot. And the Razorbacks added their lead. Earlier in the sequence, he was trying for the safety squeeze. It's up, hammering home run number 8.
What a big swing by Jalen Battles. You talk about getting all the baseball. That was a hanging breaking ball right there right down Broadway. Battles knew it when he hit it. Just a big swing for Arkansas and a big momentum shift right here.
Zach Gregory takes it outside. The Battles family is here, at least half of it. I think to bring the entire family, it would take 2 vehicles. And I was watching Jalen's father. He was giving high fives to everybody in the section around the kids that are with him. Gregory hits a mile-high pop-up. Shortstop Young camped underneath it. Will make the catch for out number 2. Battles has hit more home runs. There's Dad. There's Fred. He's got his younger sisters to the left. And he's got a couple of younger brothers that are baseball players. Mom and Dad make this drive, Troy, from San Antonio.
Wow.
Just put that in your GPS and see how much fun that was.
You just got to put on autopilot at that point.
I mean, the kids in the background. It was a couple of years ago. Caden Wallace to bunt after homering twice. I stopped. I was following them. I was driving to Houston following a game. There was a Wendy's or something in the middle of Oklahoma. And there they are. And I ran into him there. We were talking about 4 hours away from here. And he looked like he was a bit fatigued, and I wasn't much worse for the wear.
Oh, man.
He had the whole clan with him.
Got to get a little caffeine fix and just keep on rolling, right?
Keep on rolling. Wallace fouled one off Bulger. That got a chunk of the Vandy catcher. Even though this is not a doubleheader, it has that feel. If you're Vanderbilt, you're thinking, let's get all of this mess out of our system before game 3.
Right.
And if you're Arkansas, you're almost to that point now where you're thinking, let's not use up all of our runs.
That's absolutely right. It seems like that happens more times than not when you just have a huge game and everything's rolling your way. And the next game, it just totally flips script.
0-2 pitch, bends off the corner. It's always the thought process when it comes to doubleheaders. They're meant to be split, but you know, Arkansas, after losing that game in extras on Friday, wants to even up this series. Vanderbilt emptying their bullpen, it feels like, here in game 2. That pitch was 95.
That's a big arm right there out of Evans.
Caden Wallace still has a chance for a 3-homer game. In between his homers, he's had a walk, he's struck out. The pitch to Wallace runs down and out and missed and sends this count full.
I think that home run also gives Dave Van Horn and Matt Hobbs a little extra breathing room to just let McIntyre just complete this game if he can.
Agreed. Wallace spanks one to center. Bradfield turning and running. He just glides to the baseball. What speed for Bradfield to retire Wallace, but Troy, another home run for the Hogs.
Yeah, big swing with the runner on third base. Battles gets the hanging breaking ball and does not miss it. Hogs up 11-6.
I'm Korean, queer, neurodivergent. I grew up thinking professional applied to a very narrow set of people. Now I think we're allowed to define who we are out loud and proudly.
Here, have a Triscuit.
Bring on the zest with fire-roasted tomato and olive oil. Bring it with Triscuit.
Sunday morning, they're bringing the energy, Troy.
You got to.
Bring your own energy today.
The energy and the sunscreen today.
Oh, hey, speaking of sunscreen, our guy out there in center field in the camera hut, I wanted to check to make sure he had enough sunscreen on today. And he assured me that he's lathered up today. Farron says he's got the sunscreen. He's out there for 2 games. He said he wanted some brownie points for doing both games, and I said, we'll just put you on TV for 3 seconds, hiding behind a camera.
We saw his arm, right?
We did. He's busy. This is the day that'll get you, though. A little bit of cloud cover. You think you're okay. Farron, no, he's good. Look at that. He's got the Tom Cruise shades on. He's styling.
He's working it.
Here's Davis Diaz facing McIntyre to begin this 8th inning. Ball's hit a mile in the air, and Gregory was playing deep, so this is a long run. He's in a foul territory. How about the ground battles cover to get out there just in case, but Gregory had the better angle and made the play.
Yeah, you're right. Gregory was way shifted over into left center, and he had to come a long ways, and you're right, just the ground battles got out there, and he had the chance to make that catch, but again, it's much easier angle for the outfielder.
Number 25, Parker Nolan.
Looks like a pinch hitter for McKenzie. I think that's Nolan, who we saw on Friday night. And for my money, Troy, I think he's the reason Vanderbilt won that game. I know Bradfield had the 10th inning home run, but Nolan was a big-time pest on the Hogs' side.
Oh, I definitely think so. He had some really good plate appearances.
He beat his counterpart, not related to Connor Nolan.
Had a home run, a sac fly, and a double in the 10th. He was feeling it.
It's Tim Corbin. A lot of success there in Vandy. A lot of success here in this last stretch. Nolan will wave and miss. When they head next weekend to LSU, they put up another good series on the road, and they're going to be right where they want to be going into Hoover.
I think so. This team has got a lot of talent. You know, it just shows the gauntlet of the SEC and how tough it is to put up a lot of victories.
It's one thing that Coach Corbin told us the other day, this league will make you think you aren't very good. and sometimes you need a reminder that you are.
Right.
It's been 5 years since Vandy has been here. Arkansas took 2 out of 3 back in 2017. Coach Corbin said when he was here in 2017, they had James Franklin, the former Vandy football coach who was with Penn State, who spent the week with him in the dugout in the hotel.
Yeah, I think he just gotten hired, and so he came along for the ride, and that's got to be some good motivation for your team.
2-2 pitch. Well,
that was interesting.
Turner framed that one up in case Eddie Newsom wanted to ring up Nolan. Let's see where this pitch finished.
Maybe down.
Wow.
You got to remember where it crosses, not where the catcher catches it. So I think that looked like a pretty good pitch.
Usually you get some dispensation if you split the plate, even if it's a little bit down, if you're right down the middle. Not that time. That one's going to be served into left, a base hit, so Nolan continues his hitting ways.
Yeah, great inside-out swing right there by Parker Nolan. I love the two-strike approach. Stay back and just kind of throw those hands at the baseball.
His third hit this weekend. Brings up Tate Colwick, who had the 2-run double against Morris in the 3rd inning, capping a 5-run inning. And then Morris had set down 8 in a row until Colwick came up and homered against him. So Morris was really good yesterday for Arkansas, with the exception of these 2 at-bats to this man.
Really nice swing right there. Anytime you foul a ball straight back to the screen, you know you're right on it.
That's a swing.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's the cutter right there by Will McIntyre. Out of the hand, it looks like the fastball.
But it's got that velocity of
Yeah, I think that's the difference. Robert Moore's playing right up the middle to take that base hit back through the box away.
Arkansas fans have been ingrained with the cutter of not just Kevin Kopp's last year, The Thing, or even Blaine Knight several years ago, when to us it looked like a slider, but you know they called it a cutter, so that's what we went with. This more the traditional cutter break. 1-2 to Colwick. Is that a swing? I think it is.
Looks like
sir. Morris Hodges has been busy today, and he punches up, rings up Colwick. Second strikeout for McIntyre.
Morris Hodges, he's a little animated on that punch out over there at first base.
Sometimes that's clearly a swing. Sometimes I think you need to sell it so you don't get any argument. You're like, yes, sir, I hit it out. I had a swing.
Got to be decisive when you're an umpire.
There was a conversation the other day, and I'm curious if you've heard it. It's Carter Young bats. I think Mike Sweeney on Royals radio said if an umpire points with his left hand, he thinks it's one thing. If he points with another thing on an appeal, whether swing or take, as if he's almost saying, I think, but I'm not sure.
Oh, really?
I thought it was with the intensity he pointed. Like quickly, he's like, I got a strike, or you point softly. It's like, why are we doing this? Quit bothering me. Have you heard anything like that?
I have not. Mike Sweeney's been around just a few games, so I might have to take that under advisement.
I mean, we're a couple of old dogs, but we like to learn some new tricks every once in a while. Young 0 for 3, switch hitter, batting lefty. It's a soft little dribbler. Slavens will have to spin, flip to McIntyre, covering. He found the base. Oh, I think he stepped on a sheet of ice there for a second, but the fans on the Hawk pen not necessarily impressed. They're settling in for a long day of baseball. Hawks up 5.
In the future I want to live in, no one's pretending to be someone they're not. I'm Korean, I'm queer, I'm neurodivergent. I grew up thinking professional was only applied to a very narrow set of people. You couldn't be yourself, you couldn't express yourself. But now we're allowed to define who we are and share that definition with others out loud and proudly.
Here, have a Triscuit.
Bring on the zest with fire-roasted tomato and olive oil. Bring it with Triscuit.
This is Squeeze Play, where we bring you the best moments of all the games throughout the 16 different regional sites.
Let's get quadratic. I think the goggles and the mohawk is a good look. People are leaving the yard. We're going deep sauce today.
You can find Squeeze Play on the ESPN app. The best way to watch the NCAA tournament.
Oh, Squeeze Play. By the way, Coach Rooney texted me last night. He was watching our interview with the Raccoon Wrangler Grant Harmon. Meanwhile, here's your projected SEC teams in the NCAA tournament with the national seeds. D1 baseball might differ from the RPI. I think Arkansas fans would prefer this. LSU's had a rough weekend, though, Troy, and Vanderbilt's had a good weekend at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see the Vandy dugout doing some relaxing stretching. I guess you could call that stretching in the outfield.
Well, I mean, it's something different every inning. I like it. Here's Ryan Ginther on to pitch.
Yeah, Ginther's only thrown 3 1/3 innings, giving up 6 hits, 5'11", 201. That fastball sitting in the upper 80s to low 90s. There's a slider and the changeup as well. Kind of that 3/4 arm slot, and I think this is Tim Corbin's opportunity to get some guys a little bit of work in this kind of environment.
Well, he's also going to get a new catcher in there. So Bolger is going to depart. I think it's Espinal who's behind the plate. Michael Turner's thinking, how many left-handers do they have coming out of their bullpen? Because I've seen plenty of them. Remember, in his last at bat, it was Hansen, a lefty, and he hit into a double play. Now he gets Ginther. Stroke to center. Bradfield makes it look easy. 1 out. It's Espinal. There he is.
Tell you what, if it's hitting the air to center field and Bradfield Jr.'s out there, it's going to be caught.
He's dynamic, and that's what Moore mentioned to me yesterday. Robert said, is there a better player right now in the SEC than Bradfield?
I think that's a really good argument.
I'm wondering if it's a holiday of sorts in the Moore household on May 15th. It was in mine because that's and is the birthday of George Brett.
Oh, there you go.
And George, by the way, is 69 years old. Could it be possible my childhood is 69 years old with George?
Yeah, with me growing up in Kansas City, I was a huge George Brett fan. I always loved when George Brett, especially if he was struggling just a bit, he'd pull those pants up real high so the umpire could see where his knees are. He'd have the pants right at the knee height and maybe up a little bit more to try to give himself a smaller strike zone.
Robert's going to wave and miss, so he's down on strikes. A couple of quick outs, a line out, and a strikeout from Ginther. Yeah, they didn't come much better than George. When you can win a batting title in 3 different decades, you talk about things that I don't think will ever be accomplished again.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Had that big run and almost hitting 400 for the year.
1980. Brady Slavin's in, another Kansas City area native. Brady's walked twice today. Had the 2-homer game yesterday, one of which landed on the building 423 feet away. Pair of walks and a run scored.
Talking about distance and numbers, Jalen Battles, 377 on the distance on his home run to left field, 105 exit velocity. That's serious.
It's got some juice.
Pretty live fastball right there by Ginther, 93. It's a good look at Jalen. Kind of a good look at the top of his hat.
I think he's reapplying the Arkansas logo to the dugout railing. Called strike to Slavens.
That was a knee buckler. Might see that one again.
Up and out with a 93 mile-an-hour fastball. Break a little late for you?
Yeah, maybe.
A little high coming through the zone. Here's a payoff. Foul to the left. Vaz over, looking for room. That's at about the Raccoon area, but not today. Coons nocturnal? Do they sleep during the day? Do we know?
I think that may be right. I have to do a little research here.
Okay, you look that up. Our man's getting some attention. It continues, though. His fame has not ceased. Slavens will wave and miss. That will end the inning. On we go to the 9th inning. Arkansas has a chance to finish off a win in Game 2. Time to fire up the old grill on a Sunday afternoon.
Let's talk about what is professional today.
I've been a janitor, I've been a designer, I've been an executive.
Creating my own seat at the table was doing things different.
There's work, and there's what works for you.
Professional is you, professional is us.
It's ours to define.
Here, have a Triscuit.
Bring on the zest with fire-roasted tomato and olive oil. Bring it with Triscuit.
Hey, those fans were here yesterday. They had the towels put out on every seat, courtesy of Hogs Plus, and say it about 10 times a year. Youth is wasted on the young. These kids having a good old time in the hog pen. Speaking of having a good time, Will McIntyre has done that. Troy, 2 scoreless innings, trying to finish off a 3rd and get a save today.
Yeah, he's looking really strong again. His ability to throw strikes and throw different pitches for strikes is what's been impressive.
Bradfield, the batter. Bradfield has a couple of singles. He's also drawn a walk. It's the 1-1, fouled right at the plate. Bradfield is so quick, he almost caught the foul ball that he fouled down off the ground. I was watching him warm up, Troy, before the game. He was leaning against the railing down the left field line with his knees behind him, and he was almost high-stepping but pushing against the wall, almost like a sprinter, a track athlete would do to warm up.
Well, that's what he is. He's a sprinter that plays baseball.
All works out well then, I guess, because certainly looked very track-esque. Serve to left, base hit. That's his 3rd hit of this game and his 6th hit of the series. What, did he have 7 last week against Georgia? 6 here in 2 games?
Yeah, he is really feeling it. Just a great at-bat. Stays behind that baseball. Again, you can't be afraid to get beat when you've got 2 strikes, and that's how you stay back. I think this is going to be Espinal.
This Casey took over for Bolger last inning.
Brady Slavin's playing behind Bradfield Jr. He's well behind there, so don't be surprised if he didn't take second base on this pitch. He's got about a 25, 30-foot lead.
Espinal has 9 at-bats this year. You saw his numbers on the season. And that is a foul ball. Bradfield, if he would steal a couple of more bases today, would have more than the Razorback team. Now, Webb did get one earlier in this game. It's kind of hard to outsteal a team that will run with at least some frequency.
Right. It just shows how good he is. And I think the biggest thing for him is he's not afraid to steal third base as well as second base.
Or home. Wave and a miss. Bradfield given second. That will not be a base, but Espinal K's. McIntyre gets the first out.
And slider, cutter, whatever it is, Will McIntyre is throwing it to perfection today. I just about said this morning, and I looked at the scoreboard, it is straight up noon, so.
We've been trying to get there for a while.
Yeah.
I keep saying yesterday for game one. That was 2 days ago. That was Friday. Blocked by Turner.
The Arkansas outfield is playing about 5 steps away from the track all the way around.
It's a low strike.
Yeah, especially to a guy 6'7".
He's probably saying the same thing.
Hey, Mr. Umpire, I'm really tall. That's down.
Here's a chopper, bounce towards Robert Moore. Quick flip to first. Jones, who had 6 hits on Tuesday, is 0 for 9 so far in this series. He's retired, and Bradfield does move up to third base. Commodores down to their final out in this 9th inning in game 2.
Now batting for Vanderbilt, number 12, Dominic Keegan.
Dominic Keegan in. Had a sacrifice fly way back in the 3rd inning. Remember, Vanderbilt had a 5-1 lead in this game. In the air to center. Webb is there. He's got it. Game over. Razorbacks need an hour to complete the resumption of the suspended game. And they take down Vanderbilt 11-6. And Troy, it's hard to imagine a team ranked 4th or 5th in the country really kind of needing that victory. It felt like Arkansas did, and they had to come from behind to get it.
Yeah, that game was almost gifted to Arkansas. 8 of the 11 runs Arkansas scored were off free base runners. Brett, that's a team for Arkansas. They had 5 hits in this game and scored 11 runs. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, indeed. Razorbacks get the victory. 45 minutes or so before we will play game 3. Remember, that will be a 7-inning contest. So for Troy and our entire crew, I'm Brett, thanking you for watching. We'll be back soon with game 3 between the Commodores and the Razorbacks from Bob Walker Stadium in Northwest Arkansas.